The road to the college football playoff national championship game in Indianapolis starts tonight. For this is another season of Strictly Sports College Football Thursday. Well there, hello friends, and welcome to another season of Strictly Sports College Football Thursday. I am your host, Anthony Florio. Proud and honored to be joined by my dear friends and panelists, as always. Good old MF Michael Fletcher. Michael Bullock is here as well. And wow, another college football season is here, and it's now. And tonight, we start the road to a road that starts tonight and will end on Monday night, January the 10th of 2022 at Lucas Oil Stadium in Indianapolis, Indiana, when we crown the newest college football playoff national champion. A lot to get into. We got what I can honestly say maybe one of the most stacked opening week lineups I have seen since we started this show years ago. So and we got some great action going on right now. But before we get into all of that, good old MF Michael Fletcher, I'm going to turn the mic over to you, because before we do all this, MF is going to set the table for what's going to go down this Saturday afternoon at 4 p.m. on the Mothership CBS from the Bahamas. The Big Three. The Big Three will have their championship game on Saturday. MF, you dropped a little spoiler last night at the end of Wednesday Night Mayhem. It's a championship game you've already seen before, a repeat.
Yes, indeed, Anthony Florio. You got to go all the way back to 2017, the first ever Big Three final from the MGM Garden in Las Vegas, Nevada. And now in this fourth edition of the Big Three, the two teams that faced off in the inaugural final will meet again for the Dr. J Big Three Championship Trophy. And this is how it went down. On Saturday, from the Imperial Arena at the Atlantis Resort in Nassau, Bahamas, we saw the reigning and defending champions fall. The three-headed monsters, who were the number 3 seed going into the tournament, knocked off the number 2 seed and reigning champions, the triplets, knocking them off 51-39 to punch their ticket to the championship game. And in the second semifinal, the number 1 seed, the top seed, the Tri-State, fell to Trilogy, the number 4 seed, 50-42. Ladies and gentlemen, your final that will be played. Well, first off, what they do in the Big Three is that they do a third place game. So it will be triplets versus Tri-State. They will face off at 4 p.m. Eastern. And then immediately following that game is the final, the championship. It will be three-headed monster versus Trilogy. Now, like I said, in 2017, both teams went at it. Trilogy won the championship 51-46 on that day. And that day, Trilogy became the only team in Big Three history to go undefeated and win the championship. Since that day, no other team has done it. Trilogy now has an opportunity to become the first team in Big Three history to win a second championship. In the history of the league, the first champions was Trilogy. Power won it in 2018. Triplets won the title in 2019. Of course, the 2020 season did not happen because of COVID. And now the fourth installment and the fourth championship will now be handed. Will it go to three-headed monster? Will they win it for the first time ever? or will Trilogy finish off the job and, more importantly, win the championship, become the first team in Big Three history to win the title more than once? We'll find out. Saturday is going to be the game, and it will happen on CBS exclusively. Or for all you fans out there who's got Paramount Plus, you could actually watch the game live. It will also be streaming live on Paramount Plus. Anthony Florio, it is all yours.
All right, MF. Thank you for that as always, and we will and we'll let you folks know that at the start of next week's show, MF will let you all know who will be the 2021 Big Three basketball champions, as he will have a recap of that championship game, which will be his final Big Three basketball recap of this season. And there's no doubt about that. We'll have that for you next week. But for right now, gentlemen, it's time. Let's start the road to Indianapolis and in the college football playoff national championship game, which, of course, the semifinal games beforehand will be on New Year's Eve. The Cotton Bowl Classic at Jerry World in Arlington and the Capital One Orange Bowl at Hard Rock Stadium in Miami. Those two games will be housing the semifinals. And then Lucas Oil Stadium in Indianapolis will house the national championship game January 10th of 2022. We actually have a final already in progress. Now, for those of you who may be new to this show, what we do on this show is we give our predictions and preview only the games within the top 25. We don't do it for all the games, because if we did all that, we'd be working until the sun came up, and we don't do that. So it's all about the top 25, and we give you our predictions, our scores, and all that. So we actually have one game that has already gone final. We have 4 top 25 teams in action tonight. One of them has gone final. One of the darlings of last year. You guys remember the Coastal Carolina Chanticleers? Well, they picked up right where they left off last season. They came in ranked number 22. They opened up tonight at their home stadium, Brooks Stadium, Conway, South Carolina. Easy win over the Citadel, 52-14. As it stands right now, number 24, Utah, is at home at Roy Stadium, City, Utah. They're hosting Weber State, and they currently 19-7. Now, on game was delayed by severe weather in the Utah area, so that's gonna be on. It's not going to end until a lot later than they initially expected. I mentioned that because it's on the Pac-12 network, and immediately following that game, another top 25 team will be in action. Number 25, Arizona State. The Sun Devils are going to be hosting Southern Utah at Sun Devil Stadium, the legendary Sun Devil Stadium, Tempe, Arizona. That game will probably be getting underway shortly, and I'm sure once the Weber State Utah game concludes, then it will jump over to Southern Utah and Arizona State. But the game of the night right now, currently going on Fox, the number 4 Ohio State Buckeyes squaring off against the Minnesota Golden Gophers. Ohio State currently leads 31-21. Fourth quarter, we're just a couple minutes into the fourth quarter. 1st and 15 for Minnesota, and we'll wait and see what happens with that. Gus Johnson, Joel Klatt, Jenny Tatt, the A-team, they're there for that. So we'll definitely keep an eye on any developments in that one. So with all that being said, let's move on now to the games to come. And we have 16 altogether. We have one game tomorrow night, 14 games on Saturday, and then one game on Sunday night. So here we go, gentlemen. Let's start it off. Tomorrow night, 6 p.m. kickoff over on ESPN. The number 10 North Carolina Tar Heels will be squaring off against the Virginia Tech Hokies from Lane Stadium in Blacksburg, Virginia. Games over on ESPN. And I believe Jason Benetti and his crew will be working this game, if I'm not mistaken. It'll be Jason Benetti with Andre Ware and Paul Carcaterra. They will be at Lane Stadium for, that is confirmed. Jason Benetti, Andre Ware, Paul Carcaterra, Lane Stadium in Blacksburg. They'll be there for that one tomorrow night. North Carolina opening up as a 5.5-point favorite. So without any further ado, let's dive in. It's time to find out how well North Carolina can withstand wholesale changes on offense. It's bad enough that the Tar Heels need to replace Javonte Williams, Michael Carter, De'Ami Brown, and Daz Newsome. In addition, veteran wide receiver Bo Corrales is reportedly out for this season opener, while fellow wide receiver Khafre Brown has been dealing with a lower body injury since the spring and might not be at 100%. However, they still have sensational quarterback Sam Howell, but he's now without the vast majority of his supporting cast, playing on the road against a Virginia Tech team desperate to get a marquee victory for the first time since September 2018 that could prove problematic. Both of these defenses have a lot of room for improvement upon last season, but even without knowing who will be on the receiving end of Howell's passes, I have to give the edge to the team with the Heisman candidate at quarterback. I'm going to go with North Carolina. I think they're going to win this one. It's going to be close. Carolina should steal one here. 31-28. North Carolina beats Virginia Tech. MF, welcome to another season of College Football Thursday.
Yeah, thank you so much. I'm excited as always, and this is going to be hopefully the best college football season yet. We're going to have to wait and see how this plays out. All I know is that it's about to get crazy, guys. North Carolina versus Virginia Tech, normally a tough game, but with Virginia Tech, you don't know what you're going to get from them. North Carolina looks like a team on a mission this time around. So I'm going to go. I'm in an agreement with you, Anthony. I'm going with UNC to win it. Michael Bullock, it's yours.
All right. Thank you very much, MF. And I echo his sentiment, and I agree with you too, Florio. I'm so excited for another season of college football. I mean, this is one I'm definitely looking forward to. So, yeah, this is going to be the first test for North Carolina to prove that they should be taken into consideration for one of the top teams in the ACC this season. So, yeah, I'm going to go with North Carolina to win this one as well. I do think it's going to be a close one. I'm going to go 31-28 as my final score. So, Florio, it is yours.
All right, and we're going to move on now to the Saturday slate of action. And it's going to start at high noon over on ABC. The number 2 Oklahoma Sooners. They will be hosting the Green Wave of Tulane from Gaylord Family Oklahoma Memorial Stadium in Norman, Oklahoma. Game's over on ABC. And on the call for that one will be Dave Patch with Dusty Dvoracek and Tom Luganville. And just trying to find it in here. Oklahoma opening up as a 31.5 favorite. MF, I think we all know how this one's going to go down.
Yeah, Boomer Sooner, man. Oklahoma should win this one pretty handily. There's really nothing more to add. So, Mike Bullock, it's yours.
Yeah, I'm with you, Fletch, on this one. It's Boomer Sooner all day. Oklahoma's gonna run roughshod all over Tulane. So, Florio, it is yours.
It's going to be Oklahoma. There's no doubt about this one. There is a backstory here. This game was originally scheduled to take place at Tulane, but the damage from Hurricane Ida has forced a change of plans. Per Yahoo Sports' Pete Thamel, the two sides were working on a contingency plan to either postpone/cancel the game or play it in Norman. They've obviously made the move to make it to Norman, obviously. Regardless, Oklahoma will win this game. Dating back to September 2016, the last 9 teams to beat the Sooners scored at least 37 points. Tulane doesn't have enough of a passing game to do so against this defense. And seeing as Oklahoma might have the best offense in the country this season, even 37 points might not be enough to pull off the upset. I don't think Spencer Rattler will win the Heisman Trophy, but he will at least take an impressive first step in that direction with a big performance in this one. Oklahoma all day, Boomer Sooner, 56-20. That's my final. Minnesota has just kicked a field goal. 10:39 left to go. Oh, they cut into Ohio State's lead. It's now 31-24. Ohio State, 10:39 to go in the fourth. Again, we'll keep our eye on it and report any breaking scoring or anything like that. So once again, I have Oklahoma all over Tulane, 56-20. So there isn't any much more to say on this. Now let's get into one of our top 5 games of the week. And this is the game that I personally clocked in at number 3 on this list. Our number 3 game of the week. Big noon on Fox. The number 19 Penn State Nittany Lions squaring off against the number 12 Wisconsin Badgers. Camp Randall Stadium, Madison, Wisconsin. This game will be on Fox. And you know the announcers you're hearing right now? They're so nice, you get to hear them again. Once again, it will be Gus Johnson, Joel Klatt, and the All-American girl, Jenny Taft. They will be there. And according to my spreadsheet here, I do believe Wisconsin is opening up as the favorite here. Just want to double check on that. Wisconsin is the favorite. But I think it's a small favorite here. So, but regardless, though, Michael Bullock, you get to lead off on the number 3 game of the week. Number 19, Penn State at number 12, Wisconsin. Huge Big Ten game to start things.
Yeah, I mean, you talk about an early big-time game to start off the season in the Big Ten, and this is definitely going to set the tone for where these two teams are going to go as the season progresses. For Penn State, I mean, Camp Randall Stadium is going to be rocking, and for the Penn State Nittany Lions, they need to get off to a fast start if they want to pull off the upset in front of that crowd at Camp Randall Stadium. But to me, I mean, Wisconsin, I mean, obviously I see them winning this game. It's going to be a real close one. It may come down to maybe, I think it's going to come down to basically who has the ball last is going to win this game. That's how close I think this one is going to be. So, and of course, the difference is obviously most of these stadiums are going to be packed again. So, especially in the Big Ten, because they didn't have the luxury of that last season. So to me, I got Wisconsin winning this one, but I'm gonna go 34-31. Wisconsin barely survives Penn State. So with that being said, Florio, this is only the first game of the year, and this to me could determine where these teams go as the season progresses.
Absolutely, and the same thing can be said for the Ohio State Minnesota game on right now. But anyways, I found the spread. Took me a moment to find it. Wisconsin is the favorite. It's only a 5.5 point spread for Wisconsin. Both of these Big Ten contenders had some brutal stretches last fall. The Nittany Lions started out 0-5, allowing at least 30 points in each of those games. Wisconsin had a 3-game losing skid in which it was held to 7 points or fewer in each contest. On the plus side, Penn State rushed for at least 240 yards in 5 of its 9 games, and Wisconsin's defense held all 6 of its regular season opponents below 240 passing yards. Both of these teams have the potential to challenge Ohio State for Big Ten supremacy if they can tap into those good traits more consistently. In this head case, the defensive back 7 today. There are questions along the defensive line for both the Nittany Lions and the Hawks, but they should each be strong at linebacker and in the secondary. Chunk gains will be tough to come by, and turnover margin should be the most important data point in what may well be a race to 21 points. Home field advantage might be enough to push Graham Mertz and company over the top. Look for Wisconsin running back Jalen Berger to make a few key plays in week 1 of his breakout campaign. this is an agree to disagree. I agree with you, Bullock. I have Wisconsin winning, but I don't think it's going to be that high scoring of a game. I think it's going to be a lower scoring game. But I do have Wisconsin winning. I agree with you on that. 23-20. That's my final. 23-20, Wisconsin beats Penn State. So not much more to say on that. MF, whoa, what a way to start things off in your conference. Wow.
Oh yeah, Big Ten comes out with a nice matchup. Wisconsin versus Penn State opening weekend. Normally we don't get a match like this early in the year. Normally this would be left around, I want to say, in October, or at least October, especially in October. Not this early, not week 1 of the college football season. We get this going. So no, I'm pumped up. This is a big matchup. For me, I'm excited because this is one of those games that if I was doing it for the Big Ten Network, this is the game I have full vested interest in. But obviously, as you know, I'm a national guy. Me and Anthony, we do the national games. So we get, if it's an NBC game, an ABC game, a game on CBS on the mothership, like the SEC, which is normally SEC on CBS is more Bullock and Derek Ferreira. They normally do those games of the week, unless it's like Game of the Century battles. Then it's me and Florio. But yeah, no, absolutely. This is going to be a good matchup. I'm actually going more on Florio's path than you, Michael Bullock. I don't think it's going to be high scoring, but Anthony, I think the margin is going to be a little bigger. Not much bigger. 24-17, Wisconsin knocks off Penn State. That's my prediction. That's what I say. Nothing more to say. Florio, next game.
We just had a big run in the Ohio State-Minnesota game here. Mayan Williams took it to the house. He broke away and then some. My goodness, what a run. Big touchdown run. Ohio State now has some breathing room here with 9:43 to go in the fourth. Wow, what a big run that was. I think they might have gotten the scoring wrong here because but I believe it's 38-24 now.
Yeah, it should be 38-24.
Yeah, it shouldn't be 40 or whatever, because it was 31-24 and they just scored a touchdown, 6, and then 1 the extra point. So it's really 38-24. I think the technical Fox team on the scoreboard there.
They'll get it fixed. They'll get it fixed. I think somebody might have pressed the button one too many times.
I believe so, but
yeah.
But nonetheless, it's 38-24. Ohio State leading Minnesota. So, but what a run though. Unbelievable. So, okay. Moving on. We move on to our next matchup, which will kick off at 2:00. And this will be over on the Pac-12 network. And shout out to our dear friend Eric Harrier, because this is going to be his team coming up here. The number 11 Oregon Ducks opening up their season at home at Autzen Stadium in Eugene, Oregon. And they're going to be hosting Fresno State, the Fresno State Bulldogs coming in. Like I said, this will be a 2:00 kickoff over on the Pac-12 network. And it'll be Roxy Bernstein and Lincoln Kennedy. They will have the call. And according to my spreadsheet here, Oregon opening up as a 20.5-point favorite. So about a 3-touchdown spread for Oregon as they open up things against Fresno State, rather. Like USC, Oregon's 2021 season will begin against a respectable Mountain West foe who scored 45 points in a Week 0 blowout victory. Fresno State quarterback Jake Haener averaged 336.8 passing yards per game in 2020, and he efficiently lit up UConn for 331 yards and 3 scores last Saturday. He has never faced a defense like Oregon's, though. Edge rusher Kayvon Thibodeau will keep Hayner from feeling any comfort in the pocket. Linebacker Noah Sewell will relentlessly patrol the middle of the field. And Michael Wright and Verone McKinley III will make sure space is limited for wide receivers. The Ducks won't pitch a shutout, but they'll get more than enough stops for new starting quarterback Anthony Brown to get the W. Oregon, easy win here. 41-13. Oregon over Fresno State. Easy win for Oregon. So, MF, not much more to say. Bring MF in here now. Little warm-up for Oregon before they have their huge game next week.
Yeah, no doubt about it. I have to say, Oregon should have a very easy time with that as well. I gotta say, I think Oregon will win the game. They'll win this pretty handily, and there's really nothing more to say. So, Mike Bullock, it's yours.
Yeah, I'm with you on this one. I think, Oregon should have no problem with Fresno State here. Yeah, so there's really nothing more to add to it. So, Florio, it is yours.
And a quick update here. Fox corrected the score. They got it right. It is 38-24. So, all right. So with all that out of the way, let's move on now. Oh, boy, boys. Here we go. The number 2 game of the week. Are you ready for this one? The number 1 team in all the land, your reigning, defending college football playoff national champion, Alabama Crimson Tide. And they are going to be opening up in a big way, squaring off against the number 14 Miami, Florida Hurricanes, the U, from Mercedes-Benz Stadium in Atlanta, Georgia, the home of the Atlanta Falcons. And on that call, it will be the legendary Sean McDonough, along with Todd Blackledge, Todd McShay, and Molly McGrath. They will be in Atlanta for this battle of legendary powerhouses, 2 teams that are no stranger to national championship glory. I mean, we know the history both of these teams have made throughout their college football history. And wow, what an incredible matchup to this could have been game of the week anywhere, but there's actually one game that's bigger than this, believe it or not. And Alabama is opening up as a 19.5-point favorite. I got to consider that a little bit disrespectful, but it is what it is because it is Bama, I guess. So, but nonetheless, though, MF, it's only fitting we start this with you here. You want to talk about a Michael Fletcher be a man game? This is a be a man game. Alabama and the U? What?
Yeah. And you know what? This is why we love college football, because of the fact that normally this is a matchup we would normally never get, maybe until the end of the year. Maybe we get this in a bowl game. This year, without a doubt, they're emphasizing a lot more about the college football playoff. And normally, a lot of it is all strength of schedule and teams that you got to face in order to get to that destination. This is a game that has the desire of going to Indianapolis. This is where you want these type of games. So yeah, when you get these type of battles, this is why you see these matchups. This is one of those that sets you up to send you to Indy. So when you get a battle like this of 2 of the best teams, like these are Mount Rushmore teams in college football, folks. I mean, you could easily say, the U, the bad boys of the 1980s and the early 90s, the dominating team of the early 2000s, against, without a doubt, one of the more perennial powerhouses in all of college football with Alabama, and especially the legacy that Nick Saban has led this team, the reigning national champions, and they're going at it in the first game of the season. So obviously there's some expectations, there's some very high hopes, but the thing is, and the reason why I think a lot of people are saying they're giving Alabama this type of a leeway is because of the team that they have with the players that they lost from about a year ago, that they didn't really lose that many guys. And there's still a number of powerhouses, a number of amazing players that they're going to have on that team that's going up against the Miami that is revamped, that is actually not as revamped, not as reloaded, more newer guys than ever before. So obviously, and this is kind of the disrespect of the powerful SEC versus the ACC. So I think it's kind of one of those type of battles where I think a lot of people feel like, Miami they're good, but they're not as great. They're not as strong. They're not as lethal. We'll have to wait and see how that plays out. But at the end of the day, I think we'll openly admit it. I think Bama should win this one pretty handily, though. I could see this being maybe 2-3 touchdown margin, though. I think that number is a little high, what they give, but I do believe that it's going to be one of those where the game will be interesting, the game will be a fight, but at the end, Bama will impose their will and slam the door on Miami. I got Alabama winning when this is all said and done. Nothing more to say. We'll just move right on along. And Mike Bullock, it is yours.
Yeah, like you said, this is definitely one of the big games to kick off the season in college football. And yeah, I mean, this team is basically, Miami. You could feel like they're coming into this game like not many people are giving them a chance because, like you said, this is Alabama, but I mean, they're getting a big time game like this. You know that a team is gonna try to pull off the upset. I mean, yes, Alabama. I mean, they're a prime team, but we'll wait and see how they do in this first game. I mean, I got Alabama winning this one, but don't be surprised if Miami makes this a close one. So Alabama wins. Florio, it is yours.
Tony, fun fact time here, guys. Can you name the last time Nick Saban lost a regular season game against a non-conference opponent? It was November 17th, 2007, and the opponent was Louisiana Monroe. Suffice to say, it's been a while. Since then, Alabama has won 48 consecutive non-conference games by an average margin of more than 35 points. A good chunk of those were against FCS foes, but they have also routinely crushed ranked opponents, winning each of those 8 games by double digits. All good or bad things must come to an end, but is Miami the team to snap that streak? Even if De'Aaron King shows no ill effects from the torn ACL he suffered in late December, Alabama's defense should be more than the Hurricanes can handle. And even though the Crimson Tide need to replace 5 starters on offense who were first-round draft picks in April, Bryce Young and the new starters should make a great first impression in a season-opening win. I got Bama winning as well. 41-24, Alabama over Miami. But it's definitely going to be a lot of fun to see these two powerhouses go at it. So not much more to say there. Let's move on to our next 3:30 game, which will feature the number 8 Cincinnati Bearcats. They'll be at home against the Redhawks of Miami of Ohio from Nippert Stadium in Cincinnati. And you can stream this game exclusively on ESPN Plus. For those of you who have ESPN Plus and you want to see this game, you can do just that. Connor Onion. Wow, I like that name. Connor Onion and Bobby Carpenter will be your announcers for that game. And Cincinnati, I would imagine, has got to be a pretty sizable favorite here. Let me just Minnesota has just scored a touchdown here. we could be on the verge. Well, it's going to be a one-score game regardless. But anyways, getting back to this, Cincinnati Cincinnati is a big favorite. They're a 22.5-point favorite for Cincinnati as they host Miami of Ohio. And I believe this one goes to Michael Bullock. So Bullock, Cincinnati opening up at home against Miami of Ohio on ESPN Plus. They're opening up as a 22.5-point favorite. I think we all know how this plays out.
Oh yeah, I mean, there's no doubt about it how this is going to play out. I got Cincinnati winning this one. They're gonna take care of business on their home field. So Cincinnati Bearcats all the way on this one. So Florio, it is yours.
Yeah. Find my notes here. Yes. Without a doubt, it is Cincinnati. Cincinnati has a non-conference schedule daunting enough to warrant consideration for the college football playoff if it runs the table. But this opener is not part of the gauntlet. While the Redhawks should be one of the better teams in the Mid-American Conference, that doesn't mean they'll challenge the Bearcats. Cincinnati won its first 7 games last season by an average margin of 29 points, and this game should bear a striking resemblance to that dominant start. The defense will clamp down on a Miami of Ohio offense that averaged fewer than 310 yards a game in 2019, and the combination of Desmond Ridder at quarterback and Jerome Ford at running back will be more than the Redhawks can handle. Cincinnati wins rather easily, 49-17, all Cincinnati over Miami of Ohio. MF, unanimous?
Total agreement. I'm with Cincinnati as well. Anthony, next game.
All right. And Minnesota kicked the extra point. So 38-31, Ohio State leads Minnesota. 5.5 minutes to go in the fourth quarter. We might be on the verge of a possible Shakespearean drama classic here, guys. So we'll keep an eye on it. So anyways, moving on to our final 3:30 kickoff here. And it's another one of our top 5 games of the week. This one comes in at number 4, another big one in the Big Ten. The number 17 Indiana Hoosiers will be squaring off against the number 18 Iowa Hawkeyes from Kinnick Stadium in Des Moines, Iowa. This game will be exclusively on the Big Ten Network. And on the call for that one will be Brandon Gaudin, James Laurinaitis, and Rick Pizzo. They will be in Iowa for this huge Big Ten matchup. And Iowa opening up as only a 4-point favorite. So let's keep that in mind. So, but anyways, I'll take this one for a spin to start it off. For the first time in more than half a century, Indiana is in the preseason AP Top 25. It might be a short stay, though, because this road opener against Iowa is rough. Opponents averaged only 16 points a game against the Hawkeyes last year, and no foe managed to exceed 24 points or reach 400 yards of total offense. Dating back to the end of the 2018 regular season, Iowa has held 22 consecutive opponents to 24 points or fewer. Can Hoosiers quarterback Michael Penix Jr. snap that streak in his first game back from the torn ACL that he suffered in November? Or can the Indiana defense, which brings back most of its leaders except for Jamar Johnson, outperform Iowa's in a low-scoring affair? I'm going with the home team in a tight one, but I fully expect this one to be decided by a back-breaking fourth-quarter turnover. It's just a question of which defense makes it happen. Iowa will survive Indiana 24-21, and it looks like Ohio State has just scored another touchdown here. This is one hell of a wild game, and it looks like this is going to hold up because it looks like he was in bounds. So it looks like this touchdown will stand, and I believe it has been confirmed. It has been confirmed, so they're going for the PAT. So it's pretty much going to be 45-31 Ohio State with about 4.5 to go in that one. So wild night in Minnesota, but MF, I mean, what a week for your Big Ten. I mean, you got Ohio State and Minnesota now. You got Penn State and Wisconsin. Now you got Indiana and Iowa in our number 4 game of the week. What a week for your Big Ten.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Great game, great battles, exciting to say the very least. But I'm with you guys. I got to go with, I have to say Iowa as well. This is going to be a dogfight. This will be closer than the experts have it. I think it's going to be a little more low scoring too. 17-13. Iowa wins. Bullock, it's yours.
Yeah, this is definitely going to be a low scoring game here. But yeah, I definitely got to give the edge to Iowa here. I mean, Indiana's definitely going to give them fits, but I think in the end, I think late in the game is definitely going to be where Iowa will basically pull away here. So I'm going to say, I'm going to go 24-17 is going to be my final score. So nothing more to say. Florio,
All right.
next.
So, and just to, I was just waiting for an official confirmation. We got the official confirmation that it was confirmed. It is a touchdown for Ohio State. 45-31, 4:39 to go in the fourth quarter. That is now official. So, all right. So, all right. I started that one off. All right. So let's move on to a rare 4:30 kickoff. We got two 4:30 kickoffs, and this next one 4:30. Here's another game that you can stream on ESPN Plus if you so desire. The number 7 Iowa State Cyclones opening up their season at home at Jack Trice Stadium in Ames, Iowa. They'll be hosting the Panthers of Northern Iowa, and on the call for that one, it will be Sean Kenny, Sage Rosenfels, and Scooby Mageza. That will be your announced team for that one. And just checking on my spreadsheet here. I got to do it a little differently this time, but it's fine. I don't have a spread for this one, but you have to imagine Iowa State's got to be a substantial favorite here. So
Iowa State.
Not much more to say. MF.
I was going to say Iowa State is a huge favorite. There is no spread, Florio. I don't got it any either. But I do got Iowa State winning. There's really nothing more to add. So, Mike Bullock, it's yours.
Yeah, I got Iowa State winning this one. They're going to win this one pretty handily. I mean, against a team like Northern Iowa. So, Florio, it is yours. Florio, you there?
Yep, I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yeah, okay. I can hear you.
Okay, just wanted to be sure. Frozen screen. Welcome to my world. But anywho, Northern Iowa. Now here's the thing here. I'm gonna play a little Lee Corso here. Not so fast, my friends. Northern Iowa upset Iowa State in both 2013 and 2016 and took the Cyclones to triple overtime in 2019. But this is the best team Iowa State has ever had. Northern Iowa does return all 22 starters from a team that only allowed 15.3 points a game this past spring. The Panthers could be an intriguing FCS contender. But as long as the Cyclones take this game seriously and don't just assume that their preseason ranking will be enough to get the win, their talent and experience should reign supreme. Iowa State, easy win, 35-7 over Northern Iowa. So not much more to say. Let's move on to the other 4:30 game. And this is our number 5 game of the week. Sleeper game of the week, if you really think about it. It's going to be the number 23 and another one of the darlings of college football last year, the Ragin' Cajuns of Louisiana Lafayette. They come in ranked number 23, and they're going to be squaring off against the number 21 ranked Texas Longhorns from Darrell K. Royal Texas Memorial Stadium. This game will be on Fox, and the legendary Tim Brando and Spencer Tillman, they will be in Austin for the call of this game. And when it comes to the spread, Texas is the favorite. Texas is opening up as an 8.5 point favorite. So I believe Michael Bullock starts this one off. So Bullock, Louisiana Lafayette, one of the darlings of college football last year. But what a way for them to start. It's not going to be easy. They got to go to Texas to take on the Longhorns. Not an easy matchup against new Texas head coach Steve Sarkisian.
Yeah, that's definitely going to be a tough task for the Louisiana Lafayette Raging Cajuns. Like you said, they're one of the darlings of college football last year, but yeah, you're going to be opening up against the Texas Longhorns and in front of that big crowd there. Ooh, this is definitely really going to test them early in the season. And they want to prove that last season was no joke. So, but yeah, it's going to be tough for them. I got Texas winning this one. Um, I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go 20. I'm gonna go 31-17. Uh, Texas over the Cajuns. I mean, I would be surprised if the Cajuns go in and up and beat Texas in front of that big crowd. But I just don't see it happening, Florio. As I give it to you.
Oh, me neither. As I just said, Louisiana Lafayette, what a story they were. I mean, that school along with Coastal Carolina, there were three darlings really. Louisiana Lafayette, Coastal Carolina, and let's not forget Liberty. Liberty was also a darling last year. But anyways, is Texas back or is Louisiana Lafayette still here? Aside from needing to replace running backs Elijah Mitchell and Trey Ragas, the Raging Cajuns basically have the same starting roster that went 10-1 with road wins over Iowa State, Appalachian State, and UAB last fall. Head coach Billy Napier could have taken just about any opening he wanted this offseason, but he opted to remain in Lafayette for at least one more year. A win here would cement him as the most coveted Group of 5 coach in the country. Were this a battle decided on paper by recruiting stars, Texas would win in a landslide. However, experience and team chemistry aren't exactly on the Longhorns' side for this opener. They're breaking in a new head coach, a redshirt freshman quarterback, and a bunch of new starters on defense. How well Texas quarterback Hudson Card can thread the needle against a ball-hawking ULL secondary is, aside from Georgia versus Clemson, the biggest thing I have my eye on this weekend. Because if Card picks the Raging Cajuns apart in a Longhorns victory, he's going to vault into the Heisman conversation. But for right now, it's going to be a close game, but I think Texas will pull it out. I got Texas winning this one, 31-27. MF, I know how high you've been on Texas these last few years. I'm sure you still feel the same way, but let's not forget about how great Louisiana Lafayette was last year, as they were one of those big 3 darlings last year.
Oh, without a doubt, and there's no doubt about it. As much as I want to go with Texas here, I got to go with the Raging Cajuns. I got to think that they're going to get the job done. They should win this game. I'm with you guys on this one. Louisiana Lafayette should get the win here. This should be a start of a great season for them. So nothing more to say. Florio, it's yours.
Actually, I think Bullock and I went with Texas on that one. I'm surprised you're going with that one, MF. Wow. MF with an upset special already. All right. I love it. So about time. So all right. Let's move on to the let's see, what do we have here? Just waiting for my notes to come in here. All right. We have one more game before we get into the main event of this week. Well, when I mean main event, I mean the biggest game of the week. But before we get to that, we have a 5 o'clock kickoff. This will be on the Pac-12 network. The number 15 USC Trojans opening their season at the Los Angeles Memorial Coliseum, and they're going to be hosting the Spartans of San Jose State. This will be on the Pac-12 network, as I mentioned. And on the call for that one will be Ted Robinson and Yogi Roth. And just give me a moment here as I find the spread here. You have to imagine USC has got to be a sizable favorite here while I wait for this to load up. And yeah, USC is the favorite here. Come on. Just waiting for this to load up, but I'm just going to assume that that SC is the favorite here. So so there isn't much more to say on this. Not going to waste too much time here. It's SC. I mean, we know it's going to be SC. This could be a fun one for the hot seat conversation, where USC head coach Clay Helton enters yet another season near the top of the list when it comes to hot seaters. And all right, just waiting for this to come up here. All right, near that top of the list. San Jose State is a solid team. The Spartans went 7-1 last year, holding opponents below 20 points a game, and all of the leaders of that defense are back for another year, with the exception of defensive back Trey Webb. They also still have quarterback Nick Starkel and running back Tyler Nevins, which made for a lethal combo in 2020. But if the Trojans have any trouble winning this home opener, or heaven forbid actually lose it against a team that has had only one winning season since joining the Mountain West Conference in 2013, the backlash will be swift and fierce. Thankfully, Keaton Slovis should have minimal difficulty picking apart a secondary that had only 3 interceptions last year. I got USC winning this game. My final score on this one, it's going to be 38-21. USC, they should get by San Jose State at the Los Angeles Memorial Coliseum on Saturday afternoon. So really not much more to say on this. MF, SC opening up in my favorite West Coast venue, the Lyceum against San Jose State.
Yeah, no, I agree with you on that one. I also have SC winning the game as well. I think it's going to be a good matchup. It should be a solid performance. And like you said, if SC loses this game, that hot seat's going to get very hot real quick. So, yeah, I'm with you on this one. SC wins. Bobolic, it's yours.
Yeah, I got USC winning this one as well. I mean, I just don't see them losing at LA Coliseum. But yeah, I mean, if they lose this one, that hot seat's going to get real hot early, and there's going to be enormous pressure on the coach. I mean, after only just one game, I know it sounds crazy, but with the expectations of USC, I mean, it may not take much before the hot seat really starts to get hot. So, Florio, it's yours.
And I finally got the spread. USC opening up as a 2-touchdown favorite. They're a 14-point favorite to beat San Jose State. But, gentlemen, are you ready for the main event? Here we go. The game of the week. And what a way to start this off. A college football playoff caliber, national championship caliber matchup. 7:30 on ABC, the ABC Saturday night game of the week. The number 5 Maiden Georgia Bulldogs squaring off against the number 3 Clemson Tigers from Bank of America Stadium in Charlotte, North Carolina, the home of the Carolina Panthers. This one. Chris Fowler, Kirk Herbstreit. However, Maria Taylor out, Holly Rowe in. You know the story of Maria Taylor. No need to rehash that. So your new A team, it'll be Chris Fowler, it'll be Kirk Herbstreit, but it'll now be Holly Rowe joining Chris and Herbie for what's known as the Duke's Mayo Classic, Georgia and Clemson. And just give me one moment here And, well, we have a final here, gentlemen. We have a final. Ohio State survives. Ohio State knocks off Minnesota 45-31 in Minnesota. So a big win to start the year for Ohio State. And boy, howdy, it was not easy, but they got it done. And it does not get any easier for these guys, because next week, gentlemen, they got to go home and they got to host Oregon next week, and that's going to be our headline game next week. So Oregon and Ohio State, that's our main event game of the week for next week's show. But for right now, Georgia and Clemson, this game of the week here. I do believe Clemson, it should be the favorite here. I would imagine it's got to be a very slim spread here for Clemson. So while I wait for that, I believe it's MF who starts off on this. So MF, what can you say? I mean, this is as be a man of a game as you can get. You thought Bama and the U was a be a man game. This is even more of a be a man game right here. Made in Georgia, Clemson, MF, a college football playoff and national championship caliber game on opening night. Don't get no better than that. No bigger than this. This is the main event.
Yeah, this is the biggest game of the season, and like you said, this will very early determine where we are in the college football playoff. Normally these are the type of matchups that can define the season, no doubt about it. And with Georgia, with Clemson, this is a big battle. So of course everybody's going to be like, what is Clemson going to do? Now you don't have Travis Etienne. Now you don't have Trevor Lawrence, who is your heart and soul of the team. How are you going to be able to do that? But of course, Georgia has a different looking squad as well coming up this season. So there's a lot going on here, that to say the very least. So we'll have to see how this plays out. But it's going to be one heck of a battle, no doubt about it. Great matchup, but I gotta go with Clemson. I don't know why. I feel like Georgia. Look, as far as it goes, I gotta go with Dabo Swinney. I can trust Clemson with these type of moments, these type of games. 9 times out of 10, they win it. Now there are a few moments last season that was like kind of out of nowhere where they lost it, but I kind of feel like this is their moment. I think it'll be their time to shine. So for me, I'm gonna say it. I got Clemson winning this game, knocking off Georgia, but it's going to be a barn burner. 31-28, Clemson knocks off Georgia. Bullock, it's yours.
Yeah, this is definitely going to be a tone setter when it comes to where these teams go as far as the college football playoff. I mean, I know it's too early to be talking about it, but with this being such a big game, it could determine where each of these teams will go. So, yeah, Clemson obviously is looking different. Obviously, Trevor Lawrence is, of course, in the NFL, and Georgia looks different too. But Dabo Swinney, he's gonna have this team ready. He's gonna have them primed to go on another run here, while Georgia, they got something to prove to themselves in the SEC, especially to that team in Alabama, where they feel like, hey, everybody's talking about Alabama, but what about us? So it's going to be very interesting to see how this goes, but this is a tough one to call, but I got to give the slight edge to Clemson here. I mean, Dabo Swinney's going to come up with the perfect game plan to stop Georgia. So it's going to be a close one. I'm going to say 28-24. Clemson barely edges Georgia. So, Florio, it is yours.
I have the spread. Clemson is the favorite, but I think this is the smallest spread of any of the spreads this week. Clemson is opening up as only a 3-point favorite. So it's a 3-point spread for Clemson. Will the game of the year live up to the hype, or will one of these teams run away with an early statement victory? We're hoping for the former and struggling to come up with a reason it could be the latter, as Georgia and Clemson are equally matched on paper. Both teams are loaded in the trenches, have a big arm quarterback, and have a ton of speed in both the backfield and in the receiving core. Frankly, the biggest difference in this contest might be the pregame injury/availability report. Georgia will be without wide receiver George Pickens with an ACL and might be without defensive back Tyke Smith with a foot, tight end Darnell Washington with a foot, and wide receiver Eric Gilbert, personal reasons. If all of those guys miss the game while Clemson's Justin Ross is able to suit up after missing last year because of a spinal condition, advantage Tigers. You could definitely, make a case for picking Georgia in this one. I know some people maybe during the offseason might have thought about that, but I'm with these guys. I'm leaning in the direction of Clemson unless or until we find out that those important Bulldogs will be able to go. So I'm going with Clemson to win this one. High scoring game. I believe this will be a 5-star Shakespearean drama classic with a playoff feel. This has the feel of a playoff/national championship game, no doubt about it. But I'm with you guys. I'll make it unanimous. I'm going with Clemson to win. A little more higher scoring than you guys have it. 35-31, Clemson over Georgia. Can't wait to see it. It's going to be hella fun. So there's not much more to say on that one. So, wow, what a matchup that's going to be. So, anyways, let's get into our next matchup here. And while I wait for my notes to come up here, we have a few games left here. Bear with me here as I'm waiting for this to load. I do believe it's the Florida Gators. I do believe the Florida Gators are next up on the docket here. So because I know there's another 7:30 game in addition to the big one with Georgia and Clemson. So all right, let me see here. Yep. So the Florida Gators, they're going to be man, this is very, very slow, very frozen. So but yep, it's going to be the Florida Gators. They're going to be opening up their season at home at Ben Hill Griffin Stadium in Gainesville, Florida. And yep. So all right. So I do apologize for this. It's all right. Finally up and running here. Okay. And yes, it is the Florida Gators. I was correct. The number 13 Florida Gators, and they're going to be opening up, like I said, at Florida Field at Ben Hill Griffin Stadium, Gainesville, Florida. They're going to be hosting the Owls of Florida Atlantic, and this will be over on the SEC network. And all right, as long as we have everything in order here, yeah. So 5 games left, by the way. We got 5 games left on our docket here. We're now in the prime time, the Saturday prime time slate of games here. So 5 to go. And it's Florida Atlantic against number 13 Florida. The SEC network will have it. 7:30 kickoff. And all right, I think everything's starting to get going here. Sorry for the delay. Live TV, frozen, I'm used to this because I got a lot of things I'm looking into here. So toggling between several tabs. But I believe the I know they have a number 1 team on the SEC network, and I'm almost certain they'll be calling this game. So okay, I think we have it here. All right, Roy Philpott, Jordan Rogers, Cole Kubelik. They will have the call. I'm just going to assume Florida is a big favorite here. So Michael Bullock, I mean, it's Florida all the way, I'm sure, right?
Yeah, it's basically Florida all the way here. I mean, I just don't see them losing in front of that big crowd at Ben Hill Griffin Stadium. So, yeah, Gators all the way. Florio, it is yours.
Yes, indeed. It's Florida. There is absolutely no ifs, ands, or buts about this. I mean, until I can get this straightened out, I'm just going to give it to MF. So Florida, easy win. MF, take it.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with Florida as well. The thing is that whenever you get you kind of have to feel like Florida is definitely capable of winning a game like this. They just got to get there, and then once they get there, then we'll see how this plays out. But I'm confident with you guys here. Florida should win this one and win this pretty handily. So, Florio, back to you.
Okay. Now we're gonna get into the true prime time games, which will be right around the 8 o'clock hour or so. So all right. So moving on. Just give me 1 second here. Okay, let's see. Okay. All right. So okay. So all right, we got it finally up here. So I have a backup device here. So all right. At long last, it's time to find out what Emory Jones can do. After 3 years of backing up Felipe Franks and Kyle Trask, Jones will take over at quarterback and will be the biggest rushing threat the Gators have had at the position since Tim Tebow. Thus far in his college career, Jones has 92 rushing attempts against 86 pass attempts. After leading the nation in passing yards a game last year, the Gators' offense will look far different this season. However, they should still be potent, especially if the former top 10 overall recruit Justin Shorter starts living up to the hype at wide receiver. Florida Atlantic was the only team in the country to both score and allow fewer than 20 points a game in 2020. So this should be a decent first test for the Gators offense without putting much strain on the defense. Florida wins 34-10. So not much more to say on when it comes to that one. So let's continue on to the latter slate of action here. We have 4 games left on the docket here. So there we go. All right. Okay, so here we are. All right, 8 o'clock game here. ESPNU will have this next one. ESPN University will have this next matchup. The number 6 Texas A&M Aggies. They'll be hosting the Golden Flashes of Kent State from Kyle Field in College Station. This game you can find on ESPN University, and I'm not sure who will be on that call, but Texas A&M will, no doubt about it, they got to be the favorite here. All right, here we go. Kent State, Texas A&M. Game announcers are, and this will be over on the ESPN University. Oh, by the way, for those of you who are looking for this one, I'm sure all you Aggie fans out there will be looking for it. So, yeah. So, but before, well, no, actually, I start this one off. So, that's right. This one goes to me. So, A&M. I mean, I don't know what else there is. A&M should win this one rather handily. I mean, while I wait for this to load, MF, hell with it. It's easy. A&M all day. MF go.
Yeah, this is easy. Sometimes it's good to have those stats and everything else, but in this one, it's a foregone conclusion. A&M should win this game, win this one pretty comfortably, pretty handily. There's really nothing more to add here. So, Mike Bullock, it's yours.
Yeah, I got Texas A&M winning the this one as well. I mean, they should have no problem here with this one. So, Florio, if you're up and ready, it's yours.
Okay, so all right. So with that being said, let's continue on here. We have another 8 o'clock kickoff. This will be over on the Pac-12 network. The number 20 Washington Huskies will be squaring off against the Washington Huskies. They'll be squaring off against the Grizzlies of the University of Montana. Pac-12 network will house it. Alaska Airlines Field at Husky Stadium. And MF, I mean, you got to imagine this has got to be an easy win for Washington here.
Yeah, absolutely. This should be an easy win for Washington. Their expectations is so high this time around. We just don't know how it's going to play out, but no, Washington should win this one and win it going away. Bullock, it's yours.
Bullock, are you there?
Yeah, yeah. What are we talking about?
Montana against Washington.
Yeah, I got Washington winning this one. So, Florio, it's yours.
Okay, we have another sleeper matchup here, guys. As we continue on here, 2 games left. This will be the final game on the Saturday docket here. While I get everything straightened out here, the number 16 LSU Tigers, and they're going to be heading to LA. They're going to be taking on the UCLA Bruins. From now, you know how much I love the LA Memorial Coliseum down there. We're going to be heading to MF's favorite venue down there. Dina, number 16 LSU, making their first ever appearance in the Rose Bowl against UCLA. 8:30 on Fox. I know for a fact Joe Davis and Brock Hewitt are calling this game, so not much more to say here. Who's supposed to start off on this one?
I think MF is supposed to.
I think you're right. All right. So MF, LSU and UCLA, another sleeper matchup here. LSU starting things off in the Rose Bowl. Very interesting matchup here. So MF, you started off. MF, are you there? I don't know where MF is. So while we wait for MF, Michael Bullock, come on in. Let's get your thoughts on LSU and UCLA. Very interesting sleeper matchup here.
Yeah, this is a pretty interesting sleeper matchup here. I mean, I know a lot of people are going with LSU and that they will have no problem, but watch out for UCLA. I think they could definitely give LSU some fits here and make it close, but I think LSU will definitely pull away at the end of this. So, yeah, so I got LSU winning this one, but it's going to be a close one. I'll tell you that right now. So, Florio, it is yours.
Yeah. All right. So I have my stuff here up finally after this very pain in the you know what here situation here. So I'm gonna give my formal thoughts on a couple of these matchups here. I talked about the Florida games, so let me get into the Texas A&M game here. Which team led the nation in points a game in 2020? Believe it or not, it was Kent State. The Golden Flashes averaged almost 50 a game at 49.8. Granted, they only played 4 games, 2 of which were against the atrocious defenses of Akron and Bowling Green, and their star wide receiver, Isaiah McCoy, is no longer on the team. But they do still have efficient dual-threat quarterback Dustin Crum, who has 32 passing touchdowns and 10 rushing touchdowns against only 4 interceptions since the start of 2019. Getting that to translate to a game against Texas A&M's defense will be a challenge, to say the least. But they should be able to put some points on the board, putting at least a little pressure on new Aggies quarterback Haynes King. How he fares in this opener against a not great Kent State defense will provide an early indication of how legitimate Texas A&M's college football playoff dream is. So A&M over Kent State, 49-21. That's my final in that one. And as far as Washington goes against Montana, my formal thought on that. Montana is a solid FCS program, but recent games against ranked Pac-12 opponents haven't gone well for the Grizzlies. In 2019, they lost 35-3 to Oregon. 2 years before that, Washington drilled them 63-7. While this rematch isn't likely to get that out of hand, I don't anticipate keeping tabs on this one deep into the fourth quarter. What we will be closely monitoring, though, is how well second-year quarterback Dylan Morris starts out. The redshirt sophomore had only 4 passing touchdowns and 3 interceptions last season, but he was taking over an offense that was replacing its leading rusher, its star tight end, and 2 of its top 3 wide receivers in a 4-game season that was originally postponed, no less. I'll give him a mulligan on that one and see how crisp he looks against Montana before trying to forecast his ceiling. Washington will win that one. I got Washington winning easily, 45-9. Now, as far as LSU and UCLA goes, UCLA made light work of Hawaii in a 44-10 Week 0 victory in which the Bruins scored on each of their first 5 possessions. It wasn't a particularly efficient performance for fourth-year quarterback Dorian Thompson-Robinson, but it didn't matter since they were running the ball at will. Incredibly, it was UCLA's first non-conference win since hiring Chip Kelly in November of 2017. Extending that to a 2-game winning streak would be quite the uphill battle. Last year unraveled in a hurry for LSU between graduations, early departures for the NFL draft, opt-outs, and injuries. The Tigers opened the 2020 season with 2 active players who started in the 2019 national title game. They lost that first game to Mississippi State, and things didn't get much better from there. After that rebuilding year, they should be back with a vengeance in 2021. Instead of hitting the reset button on defense again, the Tigers pretty much just need to replace Jabril Cox and Jacoby Stevens. With any luck, star cornerback Derek Stingley Jr. will be healthy this season. To lead a drastically improved D. Thompson-Robinson will need to be on his A-plus game in this one. LSU wins, but barely. 35-27, LSU beats UCLA. MF, if you're back in, let's get your thoughts on number 16 LSU going to the Rose Bowl against UCLA for a very interesting matchup.
Yeah, very interesting matchup, no doubt about it. But I'm going to go with LSU as well. I do believe they're going to win that game. So, Florio, it's yours.
All right, gentlemen. And now it's time for the final game of the week. And it's only fitting I start this off because it is my team. The number 9 Notre Dame Fighting Irish, Sunday night. Around 7:30. Yeah, 7:30 on ABC, and they're going to be squaring off against the Florida State Seminoles, Bobby Bowden Field at Doak Campbell Stadium in Tallahassee, Florida. On ABC, Joe Tessitore with Greg McElroy and their new sideline reporter, a very lovely young lady coming over from the ACC network, Katie George. She even worked with Fowler and Herbie during the Notre Dame North Carolina game last Black Friday during last Thanksgiving weekend. So, but anyways, Katie George used to work for the ACC network, so she was on their A team along with Dave O'Brien and Tim Hasselbeck, but now she's moved up to the big time to work with Joe Tessitore and Greg McElroy for this huge game on Sunday night with Notre Dame and Florida State. A lot of history there. There's no doubt there's going to be a lot of emotion, especially on the Florida State side. We all know the reasoning for that. But I do have to go over a couple of schematics here while I was in my frozen delay here. For that Kent State, Texas A&M game on ESPN University, it's Dave Neal, Tom Ramsey, and Andrea Carter. And J.B. Long and Max Brown will be calling the Montana-Washington game. And I was correct. It's actually Joe Davis, Brock Hewitt, and Bruce Feldman will be doing the LSU UCLA game, and then of course Joe Tessitore, Greg McElroy, and Katie George will have the Notre Dame and Florida State matchup. So I think I've pretty much caught up on all the schematics here. So I do apologize for that little snafu on my end. It gets slow and very frustrating to say the very least. Live TV, you know how this works. So ask MF. MF's even had some of these difficulties on his end on some occasions. So but it's been more on my end more than anything else. But anyways, I believe I've got all the schematics out of the way here when it comes to this final game of the week with Notre Dame and Florida State. It's going to conjure up a lot of memories when you think of all of the legendary battles these two teams every game in '93 at Notre Dame Stadium. But anyways, wow. And all we know, gentlemen, is there's no doubt about it. There is not going to be a dry eye in the house. It's going to be a very emotional night because, as you know, a few weeks ago, the heart and soul of Florida State football, the man who put Florida State football on the map, their longtime legendary head coach, Bobby Bowden, recently passed away. You remember on this program a couple of weeks ago, we had a nice tribute for him, rightfully so. And, it's very sad to think about, but life after Bobby Bowden here in Florida State, and there's not going to be a dry eye in the house. I know that for sure. And they're going to want to win this one for him. There's no doubt about that, to honor that legendary memory and legacy. But I've thought about this, and I have to go with Notre Dame. I mean, I know Florida State's going to give them a hell of a fight. I know that for a fact. And but at the end of the day, I mean, the Irish, they're just too good. And not as good as last year, though. I mean, we lost the in-book, but at the end, I mean, 5 years ago, Notre Dame began the season at number 10 in the AP poll with a week 1 game on Sunday night against a down on its luck former powerhouse. The Fighting Irish lost that game to Texas and went on to have one of the worst seasons in program history. Can they avoid a similar fate against Florida State? That might depend upon how ready McKenzie Milton is to hit the ground running in his first regular season action in nearly 3 years. The Seminoles are hoping the former UCF star is the answer they've been searching for at quarterback. They had only 10 passing touchdowns against 13 interceptions in 9 games last fall, so they can't fare much worse with Milton running the show. But as was the case when these teams met last October, Notre Dame's ground game should dominate. Kyron Williams and Chris Tyree led a Fighting Irish attack that gutted FSU's defense for 353 yards and 4 touchdowns. That will help ease Wisconsin transfer Jack Cohn into his new gig as Notre Dame's quarterback. Notre Dame should survive. I'll say 41-27. Florida State will give it a fight, but in the end, Notre Dame should pull it out. So Notre Dame 41-27. Florida State. MF, I mean, what an emotional night it's going to be on Sunday night in Tallahassee.
Yeah, no doubt about it. It's going to be a very emotional night. It's going to be very driven. The crowd's going to be electric. Notre Dame, you're in for the fight of your fight of your lives, because knowing what this means and everything else, you're going to get some very inspired football by Florida State. But like you said, too many weapons, weapons offensively, defensively for Notre Dame. They're not going to be really intimidated by the moment. They might be at the very beginning because they might get caught up knowing how powerful Florida State is. But guys, let's be realistic. Florida State is not the same team that Bobby Bowden used to have back in the day. They're not as intimidating. They're not as scary. They're not as even in the ACC, They're not looked at as one of the more powerhouse teams that they used to be. They're a shell of what they used to be. And if I'm Notre Dame, I don't care about all this stuff. You go out there and you take it. You go out there and you make a statement. Tell the rest of the NCAA and let the college football committee know that we're here and we're going for the national championship. You end it early, you destroy Florida State, and you do not look back. So I'm sorry. Yes, it's going to be inspired. Yes, it's going to be um a lot of heart into the game, but once the game gets going, Anthony, once the real football begins, it's apples to oranges. And as a matter of fact, I'm even going to call a blowout on this one, as dominating as I'm going to go. And you know what? I'm going to go with a score that's very familiar with you, Anthony. The final score of Super Bowl 27, 52-17. Notre Dame crushes Florida State. Michael Bullock, you close it.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with Notre Dame to win this one as well. I mean, this is just there's just too much weapons for Notre Dame, for Florida State to contain. I mean, I know it's going to be an emotional night. You know they're going to come out trying to play hard, but in the end, it's just not going to be enough. Notre Dame wins in a laugher. So, Florio, put a bow on this.
All right. And before we do, I just want to let you know we're on the verge of another final here. Utah, number 24, running away with this one against Weber State, 40-17, 2.5 to go in that one. So it looks like Utah's going to win that one. Arizona State with a comfortable lead on Southern Utah. It's a 21-7 in the second quarter, near the end of the first half there. So, but next week, gentlemen, get ready. Oregon and Ohio State. Whoa. What do you think of that? That is going to be a hell of a game to lead things off on our show next week. But I have the quick odds. I forgot to mention the odds. Florida opening up as a 23.5-point favorite against Florida Atlantic. No spread for Montana and Washington. You got to imagine Washington was a huge favorite. Texas A&M opening up as a 29-point favorite against Kent State. LSU only a 2.5-point favorite against UCLA, and Notre Dame opening up as a 7-point favorite against Florida State. So that's all there is to say there. So I do apologize for all the delays, but it is what it is. These things do happen, but everything's all good here. So but next week, gentlemen, like I said, Oregon, Ohio State, that's the headliner. And we also have the Battle of Iowa against Iowa State. So that's a great number 2 matchup there. And on top of that, we also have some other intriguing matchups for next week here on this program. Stanford against USC, a lot of bad blood there. We know the history of those two. The Holy War, Utah and BYU will square off. How about a rematch of the 1997 national championship game for you Michigan fans out there? Washington and Michigan. Or am I wrong on that? I think, or was it Washington State that went against them? I don't know, but it's Washington against Michigan next week in the Big House. That's a very intriguing matchup. Yep. So and on top of that, how about Appalachian State against the U? That could be an interesting game as well. So and Florida against South Florida, but let's not kid ourselves. Next week, it's all about Oregon and Ohio State. That is going to be the game next week without a doubt. So. All right, so that will put the bow on this season premiere edition of College Football Thursday. But I want to thank you all so very much for tuning in and for putting up with my delays this evening. I apologize once again. Hopefully, I'll be better next week. So, but anyways, tomorrow night, MF will have it. The Cerebral Smack Talk. What a show we got tomorrow night. Friday Night SmackDown, Roman Reigns, Finn Balor for the Universal Championship, AEW Rampage, and our preview of the AEW All Out pay-per-view. And that'll be tomorrow night at our new start time, 11 p.m. over on MF's channel, Brace Fan 95. And then Monday night, we will be back with you for Ridiculously Raw. right here on this channel, as we'll review Monday Night Raw and my latest Tony's take on Impact Wrestling and 205 Live as we continue on the road to the Extreme Rules pay-per-view at the end of this month. And then Wednesday, we have Wednesday Night Mayhem, where we will review not just NXT and AEW Dynamite, but we're also going to review the AEW All Out pay-per-view as well. That'll be on Wednesday. And then next week and then right back here next week for week 2 of Strictly Sports College Football Thursday, headlined by the huge matchup between Oregon and Ohio State. Cannot wait to get into that one next week. So that will put the bow on this season premiere edition of College Football Thursday. So until tomorrow night for the Cerebral Smack Talk over on MF channel, Brace 95, you've been watching the season premiere of Strictly Sports College Football Thursday right here on the Tone 25 on YouTube and StreamYard.com. For everybody that has been a part of this one, for now, Anthony Florio, so long. Bye, everybody. Bye. You know the routine, everybody. Thumbs up. Talk to you later. Yeah, throw it up Fortune 4 style. Bye for now, my friends. God bless. Be good to each other. Have a blessed Friday. Anthony Florio signing off on behalf of my panel, good old MF Michael Fletcher, Michael Bullock, and in spirit, D.D. Woodson, and always and forever, the Yankee Messiah 401, Derek Ferreira. You know the routine, everybody. Thumbs up. Talk to you later. Yeah, throw it up Fortune 4 style. Bye for now, my friends. God bless. Be good to each other. Have a blessed Friday. And until tomorrow night for the Cerebral Smack Talk, you've been watching the season premiere of Strictly Sports College Football Thursday right here on the Tone 25 on YouTube and StreamYard.com. For everybody who's been a part of this one, for now, Anthony Florio, so long. Bye, everybody. Bye.